Hello and welcome to today's Facebook LinkedIn Live. I'm really delighted because today I'm going to be chatting with Zoe Richards, who works in recruitment at Stark Group. And I've been working with Stark Group for a little while now. They own Jewson, so that's probably how you are. You probably are familiar with them. But Stark is the parent company. They also have a number of other brands as well. So we're going to be talking all about the Stark Group, what they're like to work for, the types of roles they are recruiting for, and the types of candidates they are looking to speak to. So thank you so much, Zoe, for chatting with me today. It's a real pleasure to meet you and obviously talk a little bit more about Stark Group as well. So obviously I've given you a very, very brief overview of Stark Group, but you're probably best placed to explain who Stark Group are and the types of brands that you have.
So Stark Group across the UK have over 9,000 employees operating across 14 different businesses. You mentioned Jewson's. We also have companies like Gibson Dandy, George Boyd, International Timber, Minster, the list goes on and on. But principally we are a building construction materials distribution business with over 600 branches across the whole of the UK, which is amazing. But again, from our perspective, obviously recruiting, we recruit across all of those brands across various different types of roles, from customer services through to management, to sales, to manufacturing. I was out last week there visiting International Timber there at Grangemouth, and they actually get involved in processing the wood that then goes to the Jewson sites to then be sold on, So yeah, principally we are a construction material supply business. Wow. And I'm one of that.
Brilliant. And, 600 branches that you mentioned with Jewson, I mean, there is going to be a business that's owned by Stark that is local to you. So, it's great for somebody that doesn't want a long commute as well.
100%. And again, the way that the branches networks is spread out across the UK, even in really kind of rural areas. We have branches as high up as the Shetland Islands and Orkney Islands. So my team actually takes care of Scotland, Northern England and Northern Ireland. So we've got quite a large area to take care of, but we also support our other partners, recruitment partners across the rest of the UK as well. So yeah, it's great. It's a brilliant organisation.
Jake said hi. Thank you so much, Jake, for watching. So you've obviously got branches all over the place, all over the UK and Northern Ireland. Do you have a head office somewhere as well?
So the head office is actually based in Coventry.
Okay.
But again, branches all over Scotland, England, Ireland, and Wales, and the Isle of Man. Actually, I was recruiting in the Isle of Man recently for GP Quarry.
Oh, really?
A branch over there as well. So a wee bit of international recruitment too.
Yeah, brilliant. So you've obviously got roles that encompass, store positions all the way up to your typical head office type roles.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. So can you give me a bit of an overview then about what you do for Stark Group and what your role involves?
Okay, so basically I am the regional recruitment business partner. Myself and my team manage all of the volume recruitment requirements for, as I said, Scotland, Northern England, Northern Ireland, and Isle of Man. Again, we work closely with the hiring managers across all of the 14 different companies to understand what the requirements are in terms of the recruitment. And basically translate that to take it out to market. My team get involved in creating all of the adverts that go externally, but as well as that, we also proactively will reach out to individuals, whether it be on the likes of LinkedIn or CV databases, to generate interest in the roles that we do. I'm really fortunate that the team that I have working alongside me are just amazing. Carolina and Vika. And again, my team will regularly fill probably double the amount of vacancies that we should do every single month. And that's testament to the hard work and dedication and leaving no stone unturned to find the right people to come into the organisation.
Brilliant. And what sort of, obviously it depends probably on different roles, but what is some of the core values that Stark would look for in a candidate?
So again, the core values of the organisation are decency, passion and pride. What we look for are individuals who are really positive about a customer experience and basically support customers in the best way that we possibly can. And that's literally from people arriving into, if we use Jewson's as an example, we have the individuals working in the yard. They are the kind of first face that the customers see when they come on site. So even though they're in the yard and they're doing a kind of warehousing type role, the customer focus and the customer engagement piece is really important from that level all the way right through to management, to sales, to, I mean, we even recruit for individuals in accountancy, IT. So there's a real range of skill sets that we look to hire into the businesses across the whole of the UK. Yeah.
Brilliant. And what's it like? What do you find it like to work for Stark, and what's the culture like?
The culture is very open. Everybody's very supportive. Irrespective of what brand you join our organisation in, there's always opportunities for progression and advancement. We spend a lot of money training and developing people, giving them additional qualifications, and we fully support people coming through the business. And then once you're in the organisation, if you do see other vacancies internally within one of the other brands, then we support that massively, to allow people to grow and develop and move in whichever direction you want. In fact, funnily, we say that I recruited recently for a IT support analyst, and the individual that got the job was someone who'd done a kind of IT course as a sideline, but had been working in the group for 15 years as a credit controller, but really wanted to get into IT. So again, obviously we interviewed everybody across the board, and he was given the opportunity to move over. So that's quite a wow moment for me, because ultimately you've got somebody in the business who's doing something completely different, but has went out and gained some theoretical knowledge elsewhere, to allow him to move in that direction. And he seems to be settling in really well, which is good news.
Brilliant. That's so, and I do notice that about Stark, that people, genuinely do seem to stay a long time. They really, and what they can do is develop a career within the one organisation, which is obviously brilliant, because then you're not got that uncertainty of you having to develop a career and keep moving to other firms. And I do notice that, and I think that's a really nice thing that people do stay.
Because I think from a recruiting perspective, if you've looked at it on an external basis, typically you wouldn't have often given a credit controller the opportunity to move into IT. However, he's part of the organisation, he's done really well, and his current manager was really supportive of him making the move, because that's the direction that he wanted to go in. So speaks volumes.
Absolutely, yeah. So talk me through some of the roles that maybe you find a little bit challenging to fill then, and the types of roles that you recruit for.
We're quite fortunate in my area that we managed to fill a lot of our vacancies very, very quickly. Normally we have up to 30 days to fill, but my team are filling roles at the moment within 8.42 days.
Wow, that's fantastic.
It's super fast turnaround. In terms of the more complex roles, you're probably looking at like leadership roles. And I mentioned earlier, typically kind of branch manager or sales manager level roles, we need to kind of take those out to market and make direct approaches to individuals who might be interested in the role. Obviously, Stark is a relatively new business. We were part of Saint-Gobain up to the 1st of March of this year, but as the 9,000 of us took over, it's all about helping people to understand that Stark is, yes, the group name, but everybody recognises the brands underneath. So it's about raising profile as well, also.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned as well the person that moved from, was it accounts payable to IT?
Credit control, yeah.
Credit control, sorry. So can you give us some more examples of some people that have, really managed to develop their career within Stark Group?
Brilliant. So probably tail end of last year, we had an individual go into George Boyd, which is a specialist architectural ironmongery business. This individual went in on a part-time basis, just looking at stock management and whatnot. And very quickly, after probably about 3 or 4 months, was given the opportunity to move up into a leadership role. We've had individuals, in fact, I just seen an update. One of the chaps that we placed into a branch manager role within Jewson's has now moved into a key account management role. He's been promoted twice in the space of the 6 months that he's been there. So it's great to kind of keep track on how people are doing, and the success that they've had. And it's a real sense of pride for us, because we know that we've made the right hire and we're giving people the opportunity to develop their career,
Yeah, absolutely. You've made the right, it's all about the person, isn't it? And, how hardworking they are, and, will they fit in, and will they apply themselves? So if someone's watching this, can you give some tips? I mean, actually, this would be great as well, your tips, because there's been a lot of layoffs recently, and A lot of people are looking for work now. So what would be your tips to someone, you know, applying for a job at start, but also applying for places elsewhere? How can they make themselves stand out and improve their chances of getting a
I think
job?
probably the best thing you can do is thoroughly research the organisation that you're interested in. If you were thinking about applying to Stark specifically, or one of the 14 brands, most of these brands have local sites, certainly within the building distribution side. So I would encourage you to do your research online, understand what the company values are, and explain that during your interview, how you've embodied them. But more than that, I think go along to one of the sites, talk to people that are already working in the business, get a bit of a feel for what it's like to work there, and then talk about that when you go to the interview. I think more often than not, people just go along to an interview and maybe aren't quite prepared. But if you do your homework, whether it's research online or physically go into one of the sites and talk to the teams, that speaks volumes to the hiring manager, because you fully understand and be able to explain what you've seen whilst you've been there, is a really positive thing too. But also maybe even reach out to some of the individuals working in the business, whether you have them as a connection on the likes of LinkedIn, or reach out and have a chat. That's definitely the way to go. Knowledge is power. And if you are really serious about a career in an organisation like ours, then absolutely, or any organisation, just do your research, find out what the business is all about, and then be able to talk about how you believe you can add value to that business.
Yeah, that's really good advice. That is such good. And you know, that is the thing that does help people stand out. And, you know, I've been doing quite a lot of interviews recently, and somebody know, what do you know about the company? And they're like, oh, I haven't really had time to research it, or it's always a bit of a warning sign. You're like, well, okay. But those people that can speak.
Here with some really good examples. If you know from the job specification what the requirement is specifically, take some time out at home and just jot down some really good examples of what you would use in your previous experience to relate to that role. That's probably another great bit of advice, actually. Preparation is key.
Absolutely. And it does, and you know what, a lot of people don't do it, so actually it does make you stand out. How do you approach diversity and inclusion in your recruitment process and then in the workplace?
So over the course of the last year, Jewson's, particularly within my area, we managed 98 branch recruitment, and over the last year they have been proactively trying to even up the balance in terms of the equality and diversity piece. But more than that, it's also about flexible working. So within all of the roles within Jewson Scotland, and North of England, we will speak to the hiring managers and establish very, very early on, is this an opportunity that could be, we are able to offer flexible working. So we'll ask, what's the maximum number of hours you want to work? What's the minimum number of hours you want to work? And more often than not, a full-time position could be filled by 2 people. But that also gives the business scalability as well. So if it's a team of 10 maybe in a branch and a couple of people go off sick, if everybody's working full maximum hours, there's no real flexibility. But by looking at flexible working, it means that they can scale up and scale down. Jewson's have also been heavily involved, and you might have seen some of the stuff on LinkedIn. If anybody wants to add my profile, there's some details there about a recent ambassadorship that's been set up with a young female football player in Scotland who has basically come right into the business, is out visiting females in all the different branches and all the different roles. And again, it's about encouraging more females into what is typically believed to be a male-dominated environment, or certainly was in the past. We have made great advances over the course of the last year. In fact, I can tell you, in the month of February, of the 18 hires that we put into Jewson's, 17 of them were part-time, which is amazing. And we do track every single month exactly where we're at in terms of the previous month. Has there been an improvement? What are we looking at? But again, bringing more females into the business and bringing more flexible working arrangements is massive, and that's across all of the brands, effectively.
Yeah, I think, I know, if you're looking for a local part-time job, Jewson is perfect. And I know that is the dream for a lot of people, isn't it? That they don't want a big commute, they want something quite flexible that they can work around, you know, their family, their life, whatever. And so I think, you know, if you want a local part-time job, then definitely look at Jewson, because they have loads, and obviously and Start Group as well.
Yeah.
Just thinking there's a Jewson around the corner from me, and you know, I literally walked past it on the way back from school, so it's a great opportunity for anybody that wants a job.
You know, and having it so close by, if you've never visited a site before, then encourage you, go in, have a look, talk to the people that are there. There is a massive diverse workforce there. And obviously we want to hire the very best people that we can. So, and again, the opportunity, you may enter the business and customer services, and then you might end up diversifying into sales. It could be that you go into a leadership role. The world's your oyster. It's entirely down to you where you go.
Yeah. So what would be your one piece of advice you'd give to somebody looking to join the building distribution industry?
Excellent. Do your research. Obviously go online, check out the organisations that you're interested in joining, reach out to your network, talk to people that you maybe know that are already in these businesses, and just make sure that the values that you hold dear are reciprocated in the organisation that you go into. Obviously, if you've got a career plan that you're working to, make sure that any organisation that you do join is able to support your needs and desires and circumstances, even if we're talking about flexible working and whatnot. And obviously things do change. It can be quite difficult when you've got a young family trying to balance full-time work. And I think the world of work has changed since COVID. People are looking for that bit of balance in their life, to not have to work quite as hard, to make everyday life that little bit easier. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Brilliant. So we obviously know that you support flexible working. You really got a great culture. You promote people, you know, within. You support diversity and inclusion. What are the standard benefits? You know, you've got a range of roles across branches and in head office. And what are the other benefits then? If someone's listening to this and wondering what benefits.
Okay, so benefit packages, obviously you would have a salary which would reflect the type of role. We also have a pension scheme, life assurance, private medical. Again, holiday entitlement could be up to 31 days a year for kind of lower level roles, slightly more the higher you go in the organisation. But again, what we also do is invest in you and give you the opportunity to train and develop and pick up all the skills and development that you need to support the career path that you're looking to move in.
Absolutely. Brilliant. So where can people connect with you? And obviously if they're watching this and they think, I want to see what vacancies Stark have, where should they go?
So you can either add me on LinkedIn. If you go into my LinkedIn profile, we have the link on there to the Stark website, which has all of the vacancies across the whole of the UK. And I'll maybe share this with you, Liz, and you can stick it at the bottom of the chat.
Absolutely. And if someone goes on there and there isn't something maybe local to them or something that aligns to their skill set at the moment, is there somewhere would they be best getting in touch with you and just sending speculatively?
Absolutely. Send your CVs over to me and I can fire them across to my other regional recruitment business partners. There's 6 of us. So yeah, I can pass off on to my colleagues as well for you. Absolutely.
Brilliant. Yeah. I mean, I always think with a big company like yours, getting vacancies all the time, if there's nothing right for you at the moment, but you like the sound of Stark, then it's so worth sending your CV to Zoe, because you never know, in a couple of weeks' time or in a month's time, the right role might be added, and obviously Zoe and the team will know who you are.
I mean, any CVs that are sent through, we can upload onto our CRM system, and that then makes it searchable for all of the recruiters across the whole of the UK.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, perfect. Well, we'll put all the links in the show notes. Thank you so much to everyone that's watched live and on the replay. And thank you so much, Zoe, for your time today.
Thank you so much, Liz. It's been a pleasure to speak to you.
You too.
Take care.
You too.